Town hero, Ben.
Finally, a Patriots fan.
A Patriots fan, and we're getting some wicked smart answers today too from that panel. And you know, we admire your acting, but we admire your activism even more, Ben. So we thank you for everything that you're doing. You mentioned the success of public-private partnerships in the Congo. Can you give us an example of two of that are concrete that you look to as good examples of how it can work?
You know, as we're I'm going to brag on ourselves a little bit more because I do think, because the CEO is right behind me, Joe Winnie, who's got Theo chocolate, and if I didn't highlight it enough before, I'm sorry most of the photographers left because it's for sale. It's at Whole Foods, and this is the result of a public-private partnership that's worked really well, where we've gone in and built the capacity of thousands of farmers in Congo who weren't able to get their cocoa quite up to snuff because of a lack of resources and a lack of training, although they didn't lack industriousness and grit. And, you know, in doing that, we hooked them up with this incredible partner, and sort of through the magic of capitalism, they're selling their goods. Theo's buying it on the market. At first, they bought 40 tons. Now they're going to buy 640 tons of Congolese chocolate this year. And this is precisely the kind of thing that we think that is happening elsewhere. And this is the most specific one that I can speak to. And, you know, I was speaking with Senator Graham earlier today and talking about how, you know, specific smart investments, small scale, are actually in some ways better investments than big massive ones, because they can be monitored, they can be followed through on, and they can be given to dedicated, enthusiastic individuals or small businesses. It's not easy. They're not set up for, you know, to take investment as, you know, somebody in Boston is, but, you know, it's possible and it's doable, and it's a model that I really believe in, which is not the traditional aid model, but investment. And I think it's the kind of thing that could really enjoy and has enjoyed bipartisan support here, and even more so, I think, and I know that it can be successful.
Can you talk a little bit more? You mentioned root causes, and can you talk about how empowering civil society in Congo can help to empower ordinary citizens?
Yeah, again, you know, these gentlemen could speak much more eloquently and well to the socio-political causes of where Congo is now. I can tell you just broadly, you know, it starts with somebody, you know, it's the only country that was owned by an individual. It was owned by King Leopold, and then he was forced to divest the country, interestingly enough, through a campaign of activism that was spearheaded by Mark Twain. So there's a history of Americans being active around this country, and he divested. It became the Congo Free State, and then the United States helped turn the country over to Mobutu after independence, where you have this kleptocrat who kind of basically purloined, you know, the whole country for the course of his reign, and so you had a sort of a very, very rough history, and then the Rwandan genocide kind of spilled over the border, and particularly in the east, I believe it sort of ruptured the fabric. You know, you had this mentality of genocide that came in with millions of people, and with the ex-FAR, with the Interahamwe, who made, you know, mass rape and murder. This wasn't a part of Zairian culture or history. This happened after the Rwandan genocide and after so many wars were fought there. So you have a fabric of society that's come undone, that's dissolved, and part of it's injury, and part of it's just presence of military, and part of it's an absence of a presence of military, and part of it's a presence of FARDC military, who in turn, you know, Mobutu's attitude was sort of, I'm not going to pay you, so you're going to go out and feed on the population. And that mentality, I think, was still present. And what's happened since then is slow and incremental movements toward peace, you know, and spearheaded by folks like the ones, you know, I'm honored to sit at the table with today. And at the root of that, the only real change that's happened is when, as you say, people in civil society themselves have sort of taken responsibility for their 4x4 block area and committed to improving that. Now, they need political space and they need the security space to do that. But when the brick and mortar work is getting done and rebuilding society, that's, as you point out, that's who's doing it.
And USAID, you talked about some programs that you'd like to see enhanced. Could you just give us a couple of examples of programs?
Well, I think broadly speaking, right now they're not as present in the East. I was like, they are spending money in the East, but it's mostly humanitarian. And in my view, and I'm sure there are many who would take exception, we took Raj Shah to Congo, was it a year ago, December? And, we're continuing to make the point that we believe that USAID should continue to invest in the East and should invest in development aid, not just or primarily humanitarian aid.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it.